Good evening, everybody. There's an unusual phenomenon going on in these markets. They trade around roughly the overall. So now the important thing was they broke through this trend line. See if I can draw it on here. And then there was another one, a longer term one, that was coming right up through here. And so the Dow went through that level today. More importantly, last week in the NASDAQ, after we had this kicker signal, told you the NASDAQ stocks were starting to come back strong. Notice what we had here in the last few days. Hit the 50, pulled back to the T-line, now came up through the 50, doing our bobble breakout. So even though it doesn't look exotically powerful, it's pretty much telling us the probabilities after pulling back and bouncing up and doing the bobble breakout is that we could be in now another wave to the upside, which is implying there's going to be some more bullish trading in this market. I don't have anything else to show. Gold and silver is trading relatively flat. So we'll get right on to the stocks. And one to point out immediately is the entry strategy. Notice on Mavis, we recommended this one today, but as soon as it opened, didn't go anywhere and started selling off. The fact that candle started turning dark, or in this case red, was a good indication that the buyers weren't there just yet. So a very logical place to start buying is if they pull it back and then come back up through the open. That tells you the buyers are there confirming the signal. So that one wouldn't have executed today. This one acted well today. I'd close this one out on this day because of calls getting near expiration, but bought calls back today because you can see what's happening here. You got a nice strong uptrend. Whoops, I didn't even check this. Yeah, they filled that gap and they went through it with a gap up. So had kind of a bullish engulfing, showed the T-line was acting as support. These are all things that you can kind of assess in a very quick glance that the uptrend's in progress, the T-line's acting as support, there's a buy signal off the T-line, you've got this type of trajectory, now they're gapping it up. Obviously that indicates the probabilities of some more strength, and you're not in the overbought area, so expect more upside. AMCX did a shooting star Harami today. It's still in the 45 degree, but if it opens lower tomorrow, you might take profits and then make sure it does support at the T-line. Now, I put this one in the afternoon comments. The reason that you don't give up on a chart it wasn't significant, Winnie, in the sense that it wasn't a strong buy. It was just telling you they were going to stay up, you were likely to stay up above the T-line. Now this was more significant, the fact that they gapped up through what could be perceived as a little resistance level, and this area right here being filling the gap, well, they went right through that area. So this gap up, so that wasn't significant. That was just telling you they're still staying above the T-line. And it wasn't insignificant, but it wouldn't have been like a reversal signal, just showing you there's still strength there. So This is the reason why you don't get rid of a stock that's finally fizzled and pulled back, because what did all this tell you in here? There was dramatic interest coming into this stock. Then there was profit taking. Now we can assess the fact that we're looking at a J-hook possibility. And why is this more relevant? Because we've had this strong price move that instigated the interest in this company, then the pullback, and then we can see what type of pattern it's setting up. So being in a situation or identifying a situation that's already got great interest, great strength, now that makes the patterns that are setting up in that price move that much more relevant. It's just not a dull, inactive trading price move. It's got one that's got great capabilities from this place or this point. I'm going to skip ahead just to show the same scenario as far as a reversal in a sector. Look at the kicker signal in Tesla. That told us that there was a change from what was happening in the electric vehicle stocks over the last couple of months, that now we're looking to be buying because we're starting to see buying in some of these stocks. That's QS. This is Blink. Oh, it was a little bit stronger than that today. But you can see the hammer, kind of this inverted hammer, not quite, but then the doji sandwich. This one you can still be buying with the expectation they're coming up here to the 50 and then see if they can get through that level. But what it really represents is there's been a change of this downtrend for the last couple of months. Okay, let's see. So on the same scenario as eyes, AVEO, big breakout move, lots of interest, pullback. So now what are we looking for? Looking for the new buying. Right now it's telling us they've stopped the selling. So what do we know will happen or likely to happen on bullish candles or bullish sentiment? More than likely we're going to have a 45-degree because of this information right here. But there's a lot of interest. There was profit taking. Now there's going to be a follow through on that, a lot of interest. And this is a very high probability trade setup where the probabilities are that if you go into 45-degree, it's going to be a good strong price move, number one. And number two, that allows you to put on option strategies or buying the stock, knowing what your criteria is at that point. You would just stay long as it stays above the T line. EXPR, this is where you're putting 2 plus 2 together. You can see the breakout here off the 50. And now what is it doing? You had a double doji. You're still trading positive, and what type of pattern is it setting up? Your big fry pan bottom. Now, what does that mean for us as in candlestick investors? We can recognize a pattern. We can see the buy signals confirming that pattern. And now we're putting ourselves in situations where the probabilities are not only likely to be in this direction, but could have very significant price move in that direction. Oh, I skipped. So I put this in the afternoon newsletter to kind of illustrate that the probabilities of going into earnings with a strong price move, what does that, I mean, going backtracking a little bit and saying, what does that illustrate? Well, that illustrates that everybody knows that there's going to be an earnings report after the close today, and they're buying. So you have to assume that people that follow that company are buying even though they know there was an earnings report, or they're buying because they expect the earnings to be positive. Now, does that always work that way? Definitely not, but the probabilities are pretty strong that if you're seeing strength going into an earnings report, somebody knows something that's probably a lot closer to the company than us out here in the hinterlands. It's just telling us the probabilities are good that that earnings report is going to be good. And right now, I think it's trading up around here because they did come out with a good earnings report. Now, if this had closed as a doji or even a bearish candle today, that would have been a good indication that the people that knew what was going on in that company is selling it. So that's what the signal's telling it would have told us to do, would sell that position. Okay, a few more that we're involved with. Bingo. You can see how this is trying to get up through the 50. It's using the T-line as a support. This one can still be bought. And there's your hammer. There's your doji gap up above the T-line. Stochastic still coming up. Looks like there's a wee little teeny gap right in here. That still gives you about a 25% upside potential. And OCGN tried to come up positive today. It did only finish off 10 cents. So here's that double doji setup again. If this opens positive tomorrow, you can buy aggressively because now you're starting to get this trajectory. And remember what we know about a big price move. When the bulls and the bears finally start fighting each other, it'll usually go flat for a while until your next major buy signal. Now, there was a potential one right there. It didn't really confirm. Looked like it was going to confirm, didn't confirm. So now what we're looking for is if this opens positive and trades positive again above the T-line, the probabilities now are pretty good that they're going to start taking it back up again. Now, somebody was asking, why, what do you see in this? Why are you holding on to it? Because this one has that life in it where when they do break it out, it was big time. If they break this out again, it's still got a lot of interest in it that could take it up much higher. BGS, this one has to trade positive tomorrow. If it opens lower, what's it telling you is happening? Not very convincing bullish pricing, even though it was an uptrend, a lot of dojis. Now they're selling it off, and where are they selling off? Right about the same level they sold it off before. That kind of instigates the question, is this the best place to have your money? Same scenario in Occidental. Close below the T-line. What's that done to your trajectory? First of all, you have a close below the T-line, not good. Secondly, it's telling you there's no bullish pressure there anymore. Would have closed this one out today. Now, OII, getting to be the same scenario, but this is giving you a little bit more of a window to see what you should do using the doji rule. To stay long on this, it has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow. CAN backed off today. You had kind of a shooting star type signal on Friday, and now they're not able to get up very strong today. Got to kind of factor, is this wave 1 and wave 3 about the same? Now, we closed out calls because it looked like it could be pulling back and we were running out of time. If you own the stock, then you just hang on, but it has to open positive. If it opens lower tomorrow, yeah, I'd come out and go wait to see what it does back here at the T-line. QFIN was another one that created a sell signal, not quite in the overbought area, but look where the sell signal occurred. Right at the same level the selling occurred before. This one we would have closed out today if you were long on this one. Can a bullish Harami? No. First of all, Adam, a bullish Harami up here doesn't mean very much because you're up toward the overbought area. You're looking for a bullish Harami to confirm in the oversold area. So this is more of a long-legged spinning top indecision. And now you got another spinning top indecision. Your stochastics are flattening out. So if you have stayed long, there's only really one thing you need to do tomorrow, which is you need to see it open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, it's probably coming back to the T-line. Doesn't mean very much, but I would close it out and wait to see what it does when it does come back to the T-line. So some of the electric vehicle stocks, that's not, what did I do there? No, that's not what I wanted to do. Pola backed off a little bit, but stayed above the T-line. QFIN had earnings after market. All right. That's not a dark cloud. Bert, what is that signal? Well, I'll help you. That's a bearish engulfing signal. There you go. So, well, I can check real quick. If they traded, if they announced earnings after hours today, so it's trading up a little bit. So if you did stay long and it opens here, it better start trading positive. And if it opens here, you immediately put your stop at yesterday's or today's close, because if it opens here and comes this way, that means the sellers are still in control. Hold on to your individual ones until we do the double line. At 9 p.m., wow. Sunworks needs to stay up above the T-line. SOL needs to stay above the T-line. And Fuel Cell, I guess they are reporting tomorrow afternoon. It needs to stay above the T-line. The markets went sideways for the first 2 hours before trending both yesterday and today. The first 2 hours took some of my stocks below the T-line, but either came back up or coming back up, tempted to close when it was down. Remember the important factor. You close if it closes below the T-line. Okay. The biggies, we did Tesla. NVIDIA staying above the T-line. Now, some of these aren't real good purchases right here, but the fact that they're starting to buy the biggies again after the big slow drift to the downside says investor sentiment is coming back. Apple, I like FSLY. There's a kicker signal followed by a doji sandwich. That one I would suspect is coming back up into the moving averages. There's a gap right here. just above the 50. And Netflix, yeah, not a good trader, but you can see that they're being bought, saying not there because they're not a good trader because there's no direction to them. But as long as the strength is starting to show up in the big stocks, that means investor sentiment is kind of pushing off the fact that there's the bearish sentiment and some of these big ones are disappearing, which means the whole market will maintain its strength. A lot of the electric vehicle sector, MGA was continuing to act well. CBAT is one that could be bought on positive trading tomorrow. CCIV, another one that could be bought on positive trading tomorrow. So this sector is starting to pick up steam after this long pullback. Then you saw the buy signals down here. And GEOV didn't seem to run into any resistance at the 50-day moving average. Blink was also, still could be bought on positive trading. And the lithium mining companies. MP looks like it's setting up as a J-hook pattern. And PLL, another one that's setting up nicely, especially with this little doji gap up. Okay, so QFin reported. Did anybody see what their earnings were? Whoops. Yeah, likely the next target. Okay, so some of the stocks that are getting interest, you can see TLRY, fry pan bottom bounced right off the 50. QFin rose 39%. I'm showing that they closed at 29.15, and right now they're trading at 29.95 and $30 right in here. Is somebody seeing that in any different? Oh, earnings rose 39%. Okay. Okay, I know everybody's going to ask about these. Myra, you can stay long. And did Riot report after hours? I thought it was trading down a little bit. Not enough to say that there was any major change. Dennis, thank you. Yes, they, whoops, somewhere in there they reported stronger earnings. Okay, fry pan bottoms. There's your kind of your double doji breakout setup on NM. I would suspect at least the first target coming up to the top, which looks like about a 25% upside. Nokia, another setup for a fry pan bottom, which means you could be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. This looks like a little bullish flutter kicker signal starting the uptrend. If it opens positive tomorrow, you've got a doji sandwich telling you these moving averages aren't going to be Didn't mean to type, all right. Like Doji Sandwich kind of breaking that pattern out pretty strong. G, T, E, C. Another fry pan bottom. So the advantage again of these fry pan bottoms is twofold. One, high probability of knowing what direction it's moving, and two, your percentage move are usually going to be pretty strong. Is Nokia one of the Robinhood stocks? All right. ICPT, lots of indecision, now your best friend. First target should be the 50-day moving average. You can see the little gap right there. That would be a confirming the as a target. Oh, forgot to show this one. It was your best friend gap up, breaking this downtrend right off the 50. So I didn't see that. Oh, I did see this the other day, and I don't know what I was thinking. So I wasn't thinking I should get into it because that is the type you want to get into. Your best friend, strong price move. Drift, 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 back to the 50. Best friend, wave 3. I mean, that's just a perfect setup. Okay, Brad. Thank you. Let's see. AGS. There's your best friend breakout. HBM. Here's your best friend breakout. Where's your next logical target? The top of the channel. And GOCO. There's your best friend reversal. That one could have a good pop to it. All right, this is the advantage of the chat room. Somebody pointed out SGLB today, and it had a good strong run. So the reverse engineering was that they have, let's see, I forget who it was with. They had a big contract with somebody, which is likely to continue that uptrend for a while. Unfortunately, that's the same thing we thought on SEAL, but SEAL is still a buy, so we close this one out just because of the statistical probabilities. Lockheed, thank you guys. That we close this out and won't buy it back until it comes up through that level. Because as long as it stays below that level, it's not going anywhere. But it makes for a good entry when it comes up through that level. Darn, I can't remember which one did that. That one. Came up, pulled back, then we could start buying on that day. That, even though that was not a decisive bullish day, that told you exactly what was happening as a result of investor sentiment from this day, that they were still buying after the profit taking. And Ruby, kind of that same scenario right here. Now, I'm surprised I didn't pay attention to this. I didn't realize it opened down here, because on Friday afternoon or during the weekend, it was showing it was trading up here, which would have been a pretty good move. EXPR, no target, just a fry pan bottom. I mean, anywhere up here is likely, but you see it's been as high as 14. All you really know is that this is heading in the right direction with a fry pan bottom that gives you the potential of a big price breakout. ZYNE, you go back and find out what the news was that created that. ZKNE, same scenario. Nice gap ups. Could be heading back up into this range. But I say could be. Just the fact that we see that this was a little bullish engulfing, followed by a gap up. Stochastics coming up. We've got all the makings for a high probability price move heading in the right direction. B square, same scenario. High probability after your little best friend signal that at least it's going to be heading in this direction. SOS, high probability with a bullish engulfing gap up through the T-line, it's going to be heading in this direction. Let's see, on Z, Kin, if I see it open down here, I'm not going to do anything until it comes back up to this level. If it opens positive, yes, I'm going to start seeing if they're going to continue to trade it positive and then jump in. It seems like when moving averages come together, that is when you get the biggest moves. I think that is a it feeds on itself that when moving averages, you got a few moving averages crossing. You've got a lot of people out there that say, oh, when the moving averages cross, I'm going to buy. So it enhances the moves off those levels. So we're not buying moving averages, we're buying the signals that are occurring at levels that everybody else is watching. Little bullish engulfing right here. Let's make this big enough. And it closed right on the T-line after bouncing off the 34. Please include stop info. Oh boy. Okay. Where would be logical places? Usually the halfway point of the candle that told you the breakout had occurred. Or the T-line, depending on where it is the next day. You haven't lost anything yet until it closes below the T-line on lithium. Well, it's been up and down, but what's the number one criteria of this trend analysis? They haven't seen a sell signal and a close back below the T-line. Your stochastics are still heading up. So sometimes you have to sit through the bad hair days. I would know a polka dot blockchain if it worked around my neck. Let's say, Raj, read Jim's post up earlier. Hang on to your individual requests until I tell Jim to do the double line. Yeah, so lithium, no, there's no reason to be buying this one right now. If you're long, you stay long. If you're thinking of buying, I wouldn't buy it until it comes back up through today's open. CYCC. So there's your Morningstar type signal. There's your T-line crunch. Still heading in the right direction. GPRO, I brought up just to point out this is what you're looking for. Look at your bobble breakout, J-hook pattern, and then what did it do? That's what we're looking for coming out of a fry pan bottom. Gimbal, there's your doji sand, or not your doji sandwich, your cradle. Indecisive trading, your footboard. Look for it to come back up at least to the top of the channel. Eve, no, right now wouldn't do anything on G-Pro. It was just the illustration of what to expect after you see everything setting up. This is why we're trying to get everybody's eyes acclimated to the pattern and the indicators that tell us it's a high probability trade. So right now you wouldn't be buying this one. If you were long, you just stay long. But this is what we were trying to illustrate. The fact that you can see the fry pan bottom, the bobble breakout, the breakout through the 50, and that was confirmation of your fry pan. DMTK. This is observe the obvious. Where did the buying signals start forming? Right smack dab off the 50. So what does that do for us? So this whip, we can see buying here in the 50. Now it's confirming. That becomes a high probability trade setup. So alpha, that looks like a scoop type pattern. Again, there's your bounce off the 50. There's your little best friend type signal. And look at your trajectory. Now that's different. This is the reason we closed out Sava today. Oh. Because look at your trajectory. It's not like this. It's more like this. So this doesn't tell us that this chart is dead. It just tells us we probably don't want to be there right now until we see another strong buy signal. So this is just visual analysis of what's going on in investor sentiment. If this was what we were expecting, the scoop type pattern, and this is what we're getting, now we're getting a different pattern, which this could be the fry pan bottom. And if this was the start of the fry pan bottom, it could be over here before another 3, 4, 5 trading days before we might see anything that would resemble a fry pan bottom. I meant to put this on the sell list or the short list because look at our bearish engulfing signal right here at this level, which told us what? We had a blue ice failure making this level our next target. And IIVA was a short today. It closed as a doji, but look what started the downtrend. A bearish kicker creating a J-hook pattern. Where would you expect wave 3 to go to? Right down here to the 200-day moving average. Go. What do you want to do with this one? Well, you had a strong reversal. There was your bearish signal with a booster to the downside. If this opens lower, giving you a bearish double doji, where do you think the next target's going to be? And it looked like GameStop might be running out of steam if they open this one lower tomorrow. Lilly, gap down. That must have been earnings. Look for that to head lower. And ANAP, look where it failed. Right here at the T-line. What do you think's happening here? A bearish J-hook pattern in progress. So you might want to get ready to short this one on weakness. And TCRR. Where did this fail? Left-right combo, right smack dab at the 50. So visually, what does that tell us? Why did Lilly sell off so hard? You might see any news? I just assumed it must have been earnings. Gail, did you not read two of Jim's posts? So there's your bearish left-right combo. Where's your next likely target? And what was the one? Somebody caught this early enough today. It recommended Y10 because it looked like a very nice looking chart. However, okay, thank you, Ken. Somebody noticed that the volume was very low, so that's one of the things that if you see something that's not making a recommendation, a viable recommendation, point it out quickly. So that's where I kind of put in the morning comments that we are rescinding our recommendation on Y10 because there wasn't enough volume to get in and out of that one. Okay. So got some good chart patterns. Now you got confirmation on WPRT. If it opens positive, I wouldn't be too fearful to be buying that still. With this being wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 could take you up toward the $15 range. All right, are there any general questions on candlesticks? Now, let me remind everybody that on March 27th, 28th is kind of the bricks and mortar training. 2 full days of the candlestick signal what I call the comprehensive training, where we start from the doji, go right through the 12 major signals, the patterns, the entry strategies, the profit or stop loss setups, the using the gaps, using the top rank signals and patterns to do or kind of cultivate which out of the 20 good stocks you might find on any good day is the best ones. So it just puts all the logic of candlesticks in a logical order and kind of gets your mind thinking to getting away from the fear factor that when something's going down, and this is where it kind of converted my thinking, is when everybody was saying something bad about something and you didn't want to touch it, then all of a sudden you started seeing buying, but they were still saying, no, you didn't want to touch it. I told you there was something different going on, that you were buying when everybody else was selling. I don't know where you pulled out. I may have closed out the position right here. And you can always buy it back. There's nothing wrong with buying something back if it's starting to confirm what you first thought it should be doing. You close it out here, yes. So even if you close it out here, and then you saw it do a bullish doji sandwich back up above the T line, you can say, all right, closed out here, buying back here. So I missed out on some potential profit, but at least I know that I'm in the right direction when I'm getting back in. Are there Are candlesticks useful? Yes. If I'm trading intraday, and let me see if I can find something that's been moving around today. Well. FWA21. Now, it's probably not a great illustration, but if I was going to trade wheat today for some reason, I'm usually trading it off the 10-minute chart. So I might be buying here and I'm closing out here. Maybe I'm going short until I see that. And then I can see that it's sideways. So I might be buying in here, waiting to see, because it's above the T line, waiting to see if it's going to break out. So if I should find something better, I don't think soybeans did a whole heck of a lot today. Well, that's the 10-minute chart on soybeans. What did they look like on a daily? Yeah, so it was waffling around. But if I was trading it intraday, yeah, there was a buy. Stay long, maybe taking some profits here. Maybe getting back in here, getting back out here, getting back in here. Now, if I wanted to trade a little bit faster, I flip right down to the 5-minute chart. That gives me a little bit more indication of whether the 5-minute chart hasn't even closed below the T line. Might be making the 10-minute chart waffle, but as long as the 5-minute chart's not closing below the T line, it means the 10-minute chart's not trading back below the T line. So that was a long answer to say yes. They're just as useful on a 1-minute chart as they are on a monthly chart. No, the bricks and mortar, meaning the they're kind of your ABCs, your bread and butter. They are the underlying factor of candlestick analysis. Once you know the signals and you understand not only how to recognize the signals, but which indicators or which confirming indicators improve the probabilities, the Japanese rice traders, after hundreds of years, was also able to discover sentiment was that created those signals. So if you can recognize a signal and you can understand why it's being created, you now have the same grasp of analyzing as you would somebody that's been trading in the market for 50 years. Tom, I did put out a request to see if people wanted to do a weekend live trading. We call it private trading sessions, which is 4 or 5 people. We all get together, probably here in Pittsburgh, and we go through 2.5 days of live training. The difference between that and an online training is there's a lot of times where somebody's having a problem or can't see something clearly. We can spend much more time going through it. And it's the type of thing where when everybody gets here Friday night and we go to dinner and we start Saturday morning, we go to breakfast, we go to lunch, we go to dinner, and do the same thing Sunday. So it's not like you're sitting looking at something and then all of a sudden the instructor disappears. You're stuck with me for over 48 hours so that we're constantly going through what makes the trading work. And this has cleared up a lot of people's problems as far as their little faux that they do when they're trading. So it definitely clears people's mind to the point where I've had at least 2, if not 3 people, after they do a session, eventually go and start their own trading little websites and teach other people how to use candlesticks with their method of trading. On the live training is $4,900 for the weekend. We provide all the food, which is restaurants here around. You just have to get the room, which we get a fairly good rate on the room. Pittsburgh's not a high hotel room. But with that, you get the 2 week, or yeah, 2 weeks, 2.5 days. We go Monday or Saturday, Sunday, and half of Monday. We go through all the signals patterns, stop losses, entry strategies, scanning, everything from A to Z. So when you leave here, everything you see afterwards is not a learning process, it's a reinforcing process. You also get any information off the website that you want. All you have to do is email Abe and say, I was at the weekend training session. Can you send me the 12 major signals package? Everything is free. The jokes are free. For an extra $20, we bring everybody over here to the house, to the turkey petting zoo. We're thinking March 27th and 28th. Now, we don't usually do it this time of year, but it had a few people requesting. So if we can get 4 or 5 people interested, we'll do another one near the end of April, maybe the first of March. There you go, Brad. Also, you get 1 year free to the website. And there's some more stuff. So, I mean, it's well worth it. How much do you visit the bear in the neighborhood? I haven't seen the bear for a while. Have you tried the... Brenna, we're having problem finding houses at the lake. I may have mentioned we lost the lake house that I've been renting for the last 8 years because the people finally moved in to live there themselves. I don't know what the purgatory is in Pittsburgh. For members on the online training, it's only $297. The major difference is when you come to the live training, there's only 4 or 5 people. And so we have a lot of time to work on somebody saying, well, I seem to get in too late, or I'm not recognizing this. We can, instead of it being a 1-line or a 1-minute answer, we can spend 15 minutes resolving problems. SP, we've been thinking about it. It's just a little bit too far to have a lake house up there. I might buy one up there pretty soon just to. If I do, we'll get it set up for the lake. Now, getting way off track here, what we discovered, I think, from the last feedback from the last group, because we didn't have the lake to distract us, got a lot more information in, a lot more training time. Whereas up at the lake, we'd go and take an hour for lunch to eat at one of the wineries overlooking the lake. but that would usually take an hour and 45 minutes. So anyways, had a lot more, got a more concentrated training time at the last session. Okay. Oh, shoot, Adam, I'm having a hard time even finding. Sandy looks every week to see if there's any vacancies opening up there. And okay, I guess if that's it, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 3.6 seconds, do the next double line. Eric, it's pretty much the same format. We're going to go through the 12 major signals, all the indicators that confirm the signals to improve the probabilities, the patterns, the top rank signals and patterns, which is a combination of the signals and the patterns, logical entry strategies, when to take profits, how to use the gaps to improve your probabilities of bigger trades. I'm trying to think of all the things, like scanning process. The scanning process we do it at the end, which is taking all that information and then using it in our scans to figure out what would be the next trades for Monday morning. Okay, here we go. NCR. That didn't work. NCR. That's a nice fry pan bottom. Kind of a double doji setup. I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one. Trip. That's a good chart, except for the fact that up here in the overbought area, you did a shooting star doji. I'd have a safety stop if I was long at yesterday's close. If it comes down through there, you've got a morning or an evening star signal setting up. Yes. Okay, Brad, I didn't read far enough. An APT, you could buy this one. I'd still want to see this get through the T line. The SPY, as you can see, is still continuing its uptrend, likely to come back up and test this level. The indexes all hitting all-time highs. Same scenario on the Russell. I would stay long. If you were trading the Russell, I'd have a safety stop at today's low. SIFI, you could be buying this one. Barracks, you could be buying this one. CAN, we don't know yet. It's just not acting real well. That's why I closed the calls. I would stay long on the stock, but I'd probably use today's low as a stop. And Lilly, is the fry pan broken with a bearish kicker? Yes. Exactly. You could short this. Yeah, that wouldn't have anything to do with the fry pan bottom setup. That'd be more a bearish kicker signal in progress. Disney, not a real dynamic stock. Very slow uptrend. So definitely not one that you would trade, but if you like Disney for a long-term hold, that's what you'd use it for, the long-term hold. Apple, kind of your double doji setup. I would suspect they could come up to the 50-day moving average. And CGC, that one you can get ready to buy if it opens positive tomorrow. You can see kind of your Morningstar type signal and the fact that you're above the T line. Now you want to see it get up through the 50. Light, that one I wouldn't be afraid to be buying on positive trading, breaking this downtrend, making at least the 50-day moving average the next likely target. The airlines I meant to do, you can buy, well, if you're buying, you're just using today's open as your stop, but the airlines probably getting a boost from the stimulus package. And the cruise lines also doing J-hook patterns. You can be buying those. EDC, you want to buy this one on strength. It's not showing a whole lot of resiliency so far, but you could buy it on a strong signal. Again, even though you see uptrend in some of these stocks, you're not seeing excessive buying. That's what we're looking for, is something that tells you there's a good strong buy signal. You stay long on this one. Berkshire, I don't know what it does on here. There you go. That one, I'd probably sell, yes. Not a good chart. Boeing, oh, pshaw. Stay long. I'd probably put a safety stop at the halfway point of this candle. If it came down through there, they're coming back to test the T line. And BlackBerry, that's a nice little fry pan bottom. I'd be a buyer of this one if it comes back up through today's open. That would tell you today's consolidation or profit taking is over. Sundial, you could buy this one. And Pets, you can buy this one. Just use the T line as your stop. What does those upper long legs mean in a scoop like Anti? Not anything tremendous. The fact that they took this up but did profit taking, when they started taking it back up the next day, that would pretty much told you the profit taking was over. So not really anything. It's just telling you they're trying to move this up off your best friend's signal. So very simple. I would just stay long on this as long as it stays above the T line. Ribbon, this one you can buy on positive trading tomorrow, giving you a support right here on the 50, breaking out through the T line, breaking out through the 34, and then possibly doing a doji sandwich. So I'd buy a buyer on strength. Another one that is kind of a bullish gap up. This one you can still buy on strength. If I was buying on positive trading tomorrow, I just put a safety stop below today's low because it shouldn't come back down through the bottom of the doji. Beyond Meat, get ready to buy this one above the 50, Mankind. Nothing there. Even though it's heading up, it's not really showing you any great strength. NIO, this one you could be buying. Right now you wouldn't want to see it close back below the T line. If I was buying tomorrow, I'd buy it above today's high. That would definitely tell you this support at the T line was in progress. Westwater, you get ready to buy this one on positive trading. kind of a doji sandwich breakout of your through the 50. KHC, you could buy here. Kraft Heinz, again, not a dynamic trader, but at least it would tell you you're in an uptrend. Boeing, we did. AMRS, you stay long, not in the overbought area. Kind of figure you're heading up to move along this. Is that a cradle breakout? No. Remember, a cradle occurs at the bottom of a trend. This just happens to be consolidation back to the T-line. LMND, this one you can buy on positive trading. A gap to fill right up here. Dominion, stay long. Notice how when it came up through the 50, it came right back to the 50. Told you it was going to act as support. And then they did a kicker signal away from the 50. Where do you think your next likely target's going to be? AMC, if you're long, you stay long on this one. What happened there? With that kind of bullish engulfing gap up, could have a few more days of run up on this one. AIKI, you can buy this one on positive trading, especially if it comes up through the 50. Look at your series of dojis. Look at your bounce right off the 200. Penn, you just stay long. I'd probably put a safety stop just below today's low. I wouldn't be buying here, but I would, if I was long, I would stay long. And plug, as long as it stays above the T line, you can stay long, or you can be buying this if it comes up through the little recent highs. Vivo, another one that can be bought on positive trading tomorrow. EQ can be bought. Notice how they already used the T-line again as support. FTFT can be bought. PBI is not very exciting. It has to do something decent. If it trades flat tomorrow, I'd close it out and go find someplace better. There's a nice breakout. I would see what the report was on this today. And this one, same scenario. Kind of your best friend gap up. See if there was news. Be ready to buy this one on positive trading. Copex. That's copper. Yeah, you can stay long on this. There's nothing real extravagant going on there right now. IPDN, that one's got a strong chart to it with your bullish doji sandwich. I would stay long on this one. Check. That's a message. Now you watch to see when the profit taking is over, then you can start buying. That's kind of the same setup we're looking for over here. On AVEO, if you start seeing buying, you can anticipate a 45-degree. And BNTX, just stay long. SMH, get ready to buy this if it comes up through the 50. Tops, you can buy this one on positive trading. Notice how it used the T-line as support today. And EYES, we're looking at this on a positive trading, providing a J-hook pattern. So you could either be buying this or, darn, the warrants, which I don't know why they don't come up over here. Maybe it's not W. I don't know why can't get warrants over here. We did Riot. Riot, if it trades lower, you might come out of it because it's might be losing some of its energy. If you want to go short on this one, you can short on weakness. ONVO. OPTT, another one you could buy in positive trading, giving you a bullish doji sandwich breakout. Fun, nothing great there yet. If you're buying on positive trading, look for a 45 degree, which will likely take you back up eventually to the top of that trading range. And Rite Aid, you stay long on this ever since your doji's bullish confirmation. BOAS, I'd see what the news was that created this. Apparently not a very old listing. And James, you could start buying this one with the anticipation they're coming back up to the top of the channel. D-Dog, that one you can get ready to buy. Little bullish left-right combo. You didn't have a signal here, didn't have a signal here, didn't have a signal here, but now you've got a signal. While buying call options, do you go in the money, out of the money, strikes? How far out? Raj, that's up to each individual, and that's a long answer to a long question to answer, long question with a long answer. It's what your nature is. So that's kind of what we do. We'll try to do an option strategy night pretty soon to see what each individual's nature is as far as do they want to be more speculative and go out of the money or do spreads. So we can do that one night. Workhorse, you could buy this one. It doesn't have a lot of energy in it just yet. We did NIO. NIO you can buy on positive trading. Clean Energy. Just stay long. You could buy it if you like it on positive trading tomorrow. Gain. Yeah, probably. At least probably giving you enough to factor that it's coming up here. So I wouldn't be afraid to be buying it. SWI, another one that has a fry pan bottom. You can see what it did right here at the 50. You can see that it's used the T-line and the 34 as support. I would suspect the 200 being the next likely target. I would just stay long on this, watching to see if it's going to break out through this level. That was UUU. ACB, nothing great here yet. If you're long, you can stay long. Definitely need to see this get up through the 50-day moving average. And you are OPK. I'd be a buyer of this one, especially if it came up through today's high, telling you that the 50 is not acting as resistance. If a chart candles look good for a call entry, but the stochastics are closer to the overbought condition, should we still pull the trigger or wait for the oversold condition? Well, if you're buying a candle or buying a signal, you want it to be in the oversold area. If you see a signal that's up in the overbought area or not at the bottom, you wait. But if you see a pattern that is about ready to break out, more than likely your stochastics are going to be up in the overbought area. So a vast difference. You're buying the signal in the oversold area. You're buying the pattern breakout usually in the overbought area. When you say safety stop, are you referring to a close or a trade at that level? More than likely a trade at that level. But if it's moving in a certain direction, I'd have a safety stop right here, because if they had enough strength to come down through there, you want to stop out immediately. And GE, not a very dynamic, well, I shouldn't say that. It's getting more dynamic. You could be buying this one on a J-hook type pattern. I think we did BlackBerry. BlackBerry, you could buy on positive trading, meaning back up above today's open. Romeo, stay long, but you can see it's a little bit indecisive as soon as they hit the 34, which also was filling this gap. I'd have a safety stop. Probably, I wouldn't want to see it close back below the 200. That would tell you you've got a little evening star failure at the 34. What's the difference between warrants and options? Options are very short term and have different contract strike prices, like at the 10, 15, 20, 25. A warrant is a piece of paper that says you're allowed to buy that stock at a certain price, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a round number. I think the warrants on eyes that's a piece of paper that says you can buy the stock at $11.78. And that piece of paper doesn't expire until 2024. So it's just a method for incentivizing people to own the stock, especially employees, that when they hire somebody, they say, we'll give you warrants so that in 3 years, if you want to decide to buy the stock, you can buy it at a set price, even though it's gone way up. GOCO. Okay. Thank you, Brad. OCGN, yes, it's got the prospects of a double doji, especially if it opens positive tomorrow. But remember, they did that over here too. So we'd still be buying this on the basis that it's doing a bullish signal. You can't say, well, it did this before, so it might do this. This has nothing to do with what was happening over here. We're just buying the new signal. And Blink, I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading. And Quantum, wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading. CB, I wouldn't know what to tell you. Yep, it doesn't matter what the interest rates are doing, and it doesn't matter what my opinion would be. It's what the markets are telling us is going on. Tigger, I would stay long, but it needs to stay above the T line. POWW, nothing yet until they can get up through the T line and that downtrend. GOED, nothing here yet. SSYS, That one you can buy, again, using the T-line as a support. Okay. Still lots of good charts out there. I would definitely keep an eye on this one. If they open this positive with this type of force, you've got the potential of another good strong run. If you don't want to buy the stock on positive trading, buy the warrants. The warrants don't have as much volume, but the percentage move could be huge. I think they're trading around 290. So if this stock went from here to here, which would, let's say, be 18 and a half, 19, the warrants would move from probably around 290 to $6. So a double where this would only be, whatever that is, 30% move. All right, everybody. We'll see everybody bright and early. What is the symbol for a warrant? On this one, it is EYESW. And a lot of them are that way if they've got warrants. Wow. An Olympic swimmer. Huh. I'll have to look that up myself. I've been trying to tell the people at Bigelow Tea that I'm related to them, but they just don't seem to go for it. All right, everybody, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.